is live. You're live right now.
Yes.
We're literally recording a podcast.
And you didn't let me read the questions ahead of time. So.
No, I didn't let you read the questions. Do you want to read the questions really quick? You can,
it's too late now.
We are potting right now, but you can read the questions. I'm in here with Jen Cook today. Welcome back.
Hello. How have you been?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Are you? Is daylight savings time beating you, or are you beating it?
It's a great question. I feel like I'm just losing completely to time. Like, it's like almost December now.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't had Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then once December hits, it's February. So
it's just you just skip over the next month.
Yeah. By the time anything actually happens.
So are you when do you put your Christmas lights up?
Probably about 6 years ago. And
Oh no. Oh no.
I haven't done Christmas lights in a really long time.
Okay, we need you to take those down every year.
No, they're not up. I'm just saying I haven't put them up.
Oh, you don't even put them
years.
up anymore.
Yeah, I need to. My daughter's 5 now, so I feel like I've got to start doing that whole
you got to get back in the mix.
Vibe of Christmas spirit and energy. My son was, a teenager. He didn't care. And then my daughter was young enough that she didn't really care. So
you got it.
I have a feeling that this year I'm going to have to actually take time.
Well, I'm going to make sure after Thanksgiving, the day after, I'm like, yo.
You start texting me?
It's time for the lights.
The lights.
You know what I mean? Make those
I
happen.
have to dig them out of the basement. That's, I think, my biggest thing.
That's okay. Just tell your husband to go down. You have a teenage son, right? Be like, go get those lights.
He is actually at VCU. He's a freshman at VCU. He left me this August.
Oh, that's dope.
And my husband and I are no longer together. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can take that off the pod if you would like us to.
I mean, it's part of life.
Yeah.
So it's amicable.
Okay.
So.
I did say that, and I looked at your ring finger, and I was like,
gone.
oh, maybe. Okay. Yep. I actually have to pick up my new. I lost my ring.
How did you lose it?
Literally dribbling a basketball outside of my front door and being somewhere, and I haven't found it. I haven't worn it for a year.
That's terrible.
But I'm picking a new one up tomorrow.
Mine's in a box in my nightstand.
Yeah. Are you gonna pawn it?
Probably not. No, probably not.
All right. Well, people don't know who you are yet.
Nope.
So introduce yourself. Who is Jen Cook?
I'm Jennifer Cook, and I'm a licensed real estate agent in Virginia. And I also own a staging and design business that services Northern Virginia, D.C., and a little bit of Maryland. And we actually acquired another location in Maryland this August. So we're servicing the western part of Maryland now, and then a couple counties in West Virginia and a couple counties in Pennsylvania.
Congratulations on the acquisition. We got to add the claps in the pod for that. I didn't know that.
Thank you, yeah.
That's big.
We haven't really been launching it, or I haven't really announced it too publicly yet.
Yeah.
Because, with any transition and, you got to figure things out and figure out the system and things like that. So I feel like we're finally getting a cadence going with both locations and the team and everything. So 2025 is going to be an exciting year.
So I remember you were trying to grow your team kind of aggressively, and I see the Facebook post looking for an admin, looking for this person, looking for a person, and so now you're growing. Have you grown the team to be able to handle all that, or you kind of do it all at the same time?
So the company I acquired had been in business for 12 years.
Oh, okay.
So they have people already. So there's probably going to be a little bit more cross training occurring.
Yeah.
To kind of grow it, because it's a sister location. They're not part of Phoenix. They're staged above. They're going to stay staged above, and we're going to stay Phoenix. So it's a sister type relationship. The brand's a little bit different too, and we want to stay true to who we are. But there's probably going to be some cross training occurring and growth that way. But cool. Tons of growth.
Well, congrats. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
West Virginia, I hear, is blowing up also.
Yeah, it was really cool. One of our VIP agents in Virginia, a week and a half, 2 weeks after I acquired it, she called me up and she's like, Jen, I just got a listing in West Virginia. Do you know a stager? And I was like, actually, what county? And it was one of the counties that we serviced. That's so good. We were able to service her in West Virginia.
Which counties do you service, just in case someone listens?
I would have to look at the list. I haven't memorized everything yet, because
we got hella counties.
It's a pretty lengthy list.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn.
New bags coming in 2025.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the plan.
Well, thanks for joining me again. I wanted to bring you back because we'll have a great conversation.
Yeah.
But also,
you're a believer now.
I'm a believer now. Yes, I'm a believer now. Because I was a big digital stager before. I may have digitally staged a condo one time after you, but now I'm okay, staging is great. That listing in Woodbridge, putting that whole thing together was such a long process, and my clients were like back and forth and taking, a week and a half before they made the next decision that they had to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked into that property and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so good. Like, you're really good at your
Thank
job.
you.
Like, genuinely.
My team is really good at their job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Phoenix, the whole Phoenix
Yeah.
squad,
Yeah.
they you guys crushed it.
Thank you.
And so now I don't digitally stage as much, right? But I'm a horrible like staging initiator, right? I'm still like, Trisha's probably like, bro, like, you always hitting me up for this, and it never follows through because I'm just trying to get like listings organized.
It is, you're an agent, you're not a stager, right? So those conversations can be more challenging for you, and they don't teach you how to have those conversations in real estate school, right? And that's why with what we want to launch in 2025, it's been in beta for about a year now. We're trying to create listing extensions for all of our agents because we understand that there's not a disconnect, but it's a challenge for you guys because how can you sell something that you don't sell?
I have no idea how to sell staging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out something that I can provide to you. So you call me, hey, Jen, I've got a listing appointment, 123 Banana Street. I need the listing extension by next Thursday at 4 or whatever, right? And then we take that information, we pull it up in the MLS, we look at pictures, we look at the public record, we really have a clear understanding of what that property looks like and has, the features. And then we put together, similar to the proposals that we've sent to you, we put that together and it's built out where you have your 2 base packages and then all additional rooms, and it's completely transparent pricing. And then we have the video and the stats and all of that. So you can use that tool to, press play, let your client listen to the video, click on the link, let your client read the stats themselves.
Yeah.
Look at the before and after photos. I've started building out our case files, case studies of past projects that we've had. So you're showing your client right there, like, you're not having to sell it. You're just like looking like, dude, look, do you want to make an extra 30 or not?
Oh, that's great. I need that.
So that's 2025. We want to roll that out. We've been working with a couple of our VIP agents, getting their feedback on what they like, what they don't like. And I'm really trying to just build this, and it'll be a customized link to that particular property. So you can just open it on your iPad or your laptop or whatever, and then just walk through the document. It'll have, your navigation. So whatever kind of objection that they're coming at, I want to have it where you're like, oh, okay, let's talk about it. And then you can click on that. And I mean, it'll be the same information over and over again. And eventually you'll internalize it like a script.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
But you'll have that supporting piece to show them the value versus you trying to sell it. If that
Do you
makes
feel
sense.
like that's a big part of the business? Like, you need that to happen to have more agents be able to sell staging?
100%.
Because you get business when we get business and sell you as part of it, right?
That's right. And I mean, the whole point of me even having this staging company is because I want to be able to support the agents, because I think that there is a small disconnect between the staging industry and the real estate industry, and we need each other to survive.
Facts.
And as a listing agent, it's a lot, and when you call me up and if there's something that I can provide to you of value to make your life easier, I know that I'm going to become your go-to.
Yeah.
Right. That's the relationship, the type of person that I am. And so that's really what I'm trying to build this company out to be, is a company that can support agents, not just be a vendor to the agent.
Okay. That makes sense. So like, I'm sure that everyone who's, sold a home or bought a home has like heard this term staging, right? But like, what is staging to you? Like, how do you say, like, if I said, what is staging? Like, how would you explain that?
So staging in layman's terms is putting furniture in a house to prepare it for the market. Not really prepare it, but putting furniture in a house to make it look better for photos. That's not what we do, though. I think that there are companies out there that are, relatively inexpensive that will put furniture in a house and you can go take a picture and put it on the market. But we really look at the property holistically, and we're looking at light fixtures, painting, flooring, the outside. Is there any landscaping that's needed? And then we are bringing in the furniture, but we're also creating emotional moments, because you and I know that emotions drive offers. not is that a West Elm couch, right?
Yeah.
Buyers don't care. They're not buying the couch, they're buying the house. And so we as a company really focus on bringing in those emotional moments that buyers are going to feel connected. And then that's when the offers they're going to come in.
Yeah, I always say you have to sell the house twice, right? You have to sell it online and
Yes.
in the photos.
Yes.
And then you have to sell it in person, and that's all emotional. And for me, like selling a house to buyers, spending time in it when they wanted to list, like walking through it a bunch of times, right? And then seeing you guys stage it and then walk in that time, it was a completely different experience. I was like, oh my gosh, like they crushed. Even downstairs in the basement, the Scrabble board.
Well, because you got a good mix though, because it was an occupied house, which a lot of staging companies won't work with. But we are going to work. We try to work with every single client, every single property. So I think you did have a really good experience with that Woodbridge listing because they were living upstairs, but then the downstairs was completely vacant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love our Scrabble boards. Yeah.
So like, what do you feel like for a seller, right? Who's like, I'm in the listing appointment and I'm like, you need to stage this house. And they're just like, won't it sell? What's, the ROI? Like, why do that? Like, why is it important for sellers to stage?
So I think that one of the things that real estate agents do wrong is they separate staging from everything else.
Okay.
Right? So when you go into a listing appointment and you're looking at the property, you're like, okay, I got to prepare this for the market. I've got to, the paint, they've got red paint on the wall or
the China red paint was like a major L.
Or like the dishwasher's hanging off and it's not connected to the countertops or something, right?
Yeah.
And so the agent goes in and they talk about paint, they talk about flooring, they talk about all those things. And then after all those things are done, then they're like, oh, hey, by the way, I think you should stage it.
You know why I think that happens though? Sorry to cut you off. Is because like in that situation, excuse me, because we're not always selling vacant homes, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm selling a home and I'm sitting at someone's dining room table and I'm looking at their couch, it feels tough for me. And this is like a limiting belief to be like, hey, we actually need to stage this. Mm-hmm. It's easy for me to sell like the staging consult and be like, oh, here's your stuff. We can move some stuff around. But it's hard for me to sell the staging, because I'm like, how can I get the seller? Because basically what I'm telling the seller is like, this ain't it in here, So like, I'm trying to figure out how to make them feel like it's important,
Yeah. So my process that I do with them is I'm going to pull up comps online and I'm going to go through the images, right? Yeah. Like I pre-plan it. I want them to see what I want them to see. Yeah. And I ask them clearly, like, how do you compare your house to this one? What do you see different? They're like, oh, well, they've got like really pretty furniture and they've got pretty like artwork or whatever the case may be, or I don't have lamps on my side tables or something. I ask them to identify what they're missing. And then I ask them, do you want your house to look the way that it is when we go on the market, or would you like your house to look like something like this? And, if they're kind of hesitant, I'm like, okay, remember this one sold in 3 days, sold 5% over asking, whatever. And I just keep referencing what I want them to focus on.
Yeah.
And then when they stop and we walk around their house, they're like, oh yeah, my house doesn't look anything like what sold quickly and for more money. And so I just keep going back to that. And then my favorite phrase is, do you want to do it fast or do you want to do it right?
Ooh, I'm gonna steal that. That's good. Yeah.
Because I tell them, I'm like, you have options. You can, we can list your house fast.
Yeah.
We can get it on the market. I got a for sale sign in my trunk right now. I can put it up, but you're going to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
Or do you want to slow down that process? Do you want to properly prepare your house for the market and really capitalize and maximize the hidden equity that you have?
Yeah, it's funny because there are people that are like, today's Wednesday. I want to be on the market on Friday. Like, how cool? And I'm like, chill. Like, let me market your home, right? We got to get photos. We got to do a video potentially. Like, let's go coming soon in the MLS. And staging is definitely part of that. And and I walk through homes all the time. I'm like, man, this should be staged, Or I'm with my buyers. And like, so you saw my house that I was trying to sell that was totally unstaged and only digitally staged. And I bought a stage, which is a good point. So I should have known, like, that's where I think I wanted to stage that home, but I think we ran out of money on the renovation. And then, like, looking back, I was like, we didn't even do like the greatest renovation in here, so we just did the entire thing wrong, right? And I'm a real estate agent, so that shouldn't have even happened.
Well, it's because you didn't have me
to tell
as
me
your
what
partner
to do.
in that, right?
And so like for a buyer, right? Like what happens with the buyer? Like what do you think happens on the buyer side, like when the house is not staged, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. When I started the company and I started hiring stagers, we would actually drive to houses,
Yeah.
and I would walk through the house. We still do this today. It's a training that we do. I would pretend as if I was the buyer, and I would dance around the house or make comments about things. Like, you got to make it fun.
Yeah.
And eventually the stagers realized, like, it's not necessarily always about the couch, because they were so focused on, do the pillows match the artwork?
Yeah.
And those things are important, but it's the experience that buyer's going to have when they walk through that house. That's what we're looking for. And so when buyers walk through a house that's not staged, it's cold, it's sterile.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has a weird echo in it.
Mine did.
Sometimes it has like weird smells or fragrances because the house isn't vacant. It's vacant and there's nothing there to kind of like absorb those smells. There's always that, oh, is my bed going to fit in this room?
Yeah.
Where would I put the TV at? There's so many questions sometimes when buyers walk through the house, and you and I know that buyers are making that to-do list in their head. They're making that list of, what am I going to do here? Will this work? And the houses that buyers move forward with are the houses that they can walk out that door with no questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people also like kind of make the decision at the door, right? Because what I tell people is like, look, it's outside of any sales training to tell you like to be emotional about this home purchase. And we do have to check the boxes. Mm-hmm. But the reality of this situation is you're going to walk into a house and you're going to kind of know right away.
That's right.
If it's the one or not. But if you walk in and you're like, oh, it feels good in here, and then there's nothing else in the house, and it's like it's almost like exposed and vacant and bare, it doesn't allow the buyer to continue that emotional connection with the house.
That's
but
right.
when it's staged, it adds a vibe. It continues the vibe. So I've definitely seen the difference of a house that I'm just like, oh, this is still on the market because it's not staged. And clients ask me like, why do you think this is sitting? And I'm like, well, it's not staged, so it doesn't show well, I have always been curious though, because you mentioned TV in there. Why do stagers not stage so like the floor plan to where you would watch TV? Like, what's that all about?
So it's all about the flow, right?
Okay.
And you don't want to walk into a room and walk directly into the back of a couch.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make the room feel small. And that's one of the exercises that we do as a company when we do our trainings is we want to teach the designers that we have on staff to walk through the house as if they're a buyer. So when they do their preview, they're walking and they're trying to identify features that buyers would really love.
Yeah.
Or features that we want to, well, not features, but maybe things that we don't want to hide, but distract the buyers with. Like if there's maybe some, I don't know, damage on the wall or something over here, well, let's put the artwork over on this side so that way their eyes go this way. You can still see the damage, but we're not going to highlight the damage. And so it's all about an experience. You want rooms to feel big. You want them to feel open. You want the buyers to be able to walk through the room. And if you're creating obstacles for them, that's going to make it feel closed in. Yeah. It's going to make it feel choppy and that sort of thing. So that's why there's a lot of psychological aspect behind staging that I don't think a lot of people realize, that really great staging companies understand.
Isn't that interesting though? Because the way you would stage something is not necessarily the way
Absolutely
you would live
not.
in it. But it's weird because you would think that the way you live in a house is the best way to like stage it also, to like show that off. I got the cough. It's crazy. I'm drinking water.
Is it my perfume?
No,
I feel like it's
I
me.
was actually a little sick last week, and I'm not sick anymore, so I'm not contagious. But my wife was sick all last week, and then I was like staying away from her. Like I slept on the couch a little bit, and I thought I was clean. And then on Monday, the cold just like walked me down. And then all last week, I was just like sick.
I was sick for like 3 weeks.
That's miserable.
recently. I was like in bed for a whole week. I couldn't get out of bed. It was like the worst sinus infection of my life.
Yeah, I hate. I always get a sore throat when I get sick too, and then I have to go get I just like I need some drugs. So then I go to I went to urgent care because I'm just like, give me a Z-Pack or give me some amoxicillin, and they always want to do the strep test.
Yep.
And I'm just like, bro, I'm not really with the strep test, bro.
Yeah.
But I had to let it happen. So you have in your presentation like numbers of like ROI. Do you know those numbers off the top of your head?
I mean, on average, our days on market is about 10.2. It's been a little bit harder with the market that we're in right now. And because we've also started going into luxury market. So we're doing a lot of the spec homes in McLean, which
great.
It's a wild ride, but very exciting. So our stats are starting to not look as great as they have been in the past.
Just because those houses sit on the market
exactly.
for a little while.
I mean,
longer.
when you're $4 or $5 million,
like
they're not going to sell in 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to start to now track my numbers and break that up to divide the luxury market that we're staging in and then just like the resale market.
That's really interesting stats too. You know, like or in the luxury market, this is the impact of staging. I feel like it's everyone in the luxury market would understand the power of staging.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would assume, but maybe it's not like that. But I think you had some stats before is like the typical ROI on staging is like 7%.
Yeah, 7 to 13%
I
is
spit
what
that
our
off all the time.
Yes, it's about 7 to 13%, but it does depend on price range and location.
Yeah.
So up in the Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, Reston, those type areas, the ROI sometimes are crazy. What our clients are seeing, like they spend $4,600 and they sell for $153,000 over asking in 4 days.
Yeah.
Right. When you get into like the lower counties or lower cities like Springfield, Burke, Woodbridge, those, you know, the numbers are a little bit lower where they're still flying off the market 4 days, maybe 40,000 over asking. And that investment is probably about $3,000.
And is that like a price point thing? Or what do you think the difference is between those two?
Yeah, it's definitely
areas?
a price point thing.
Yeah.
I think inside the Beltway, from what we see, houses that are properly prepared for the market are selling significantly more because they're being listed at 1.1 or 1.2. And then the houses that are down in the Woodbridge area, you're looking at 400,000 or 500,000.
Yeah.
So it's statistically, it's about the same percentage, right? But like number wise, it's a lot more.
So we all know like kitchens and bathrooms, right?
Sell houses, absolutely.
Sell houses, right? And I think floors are very important, and I think paint is so important.
Paint is like
miss on paint all the time.
It's the no-brainer, and I love when a seller's like, "Oh well, I don't want to pick a color that the buyer's not going to like, so I'll just let them paint."
Yeah.
No, the buyer doesn't want to paint.
It's like they don't want your house, and the buyer doesn't want to paint. Paint is such a big project. It's expensive to paint. It can be very expensive to paint, and it's a major project, right? Like it's like, well, I'm going to paint, you know, and like. People just want to move their furniture in day one and then figure it out afterwards.
That's right.
And leaving that as a chore to a buyer because, you know, they are going to paint eventually. It's like, that's not the right move. Like, they don't want to do all of that. They just put, you know, 5% down on the house. Like, now you're going to make them spend another $7,000 to get the ugly, you know, China red off your walls. Not to pick on, like, let's pick on China red, actually. When we moved in our house, when we bought our house, we had, like, yellow, like, almost the color of the light. With that yellow kind of tone,
the antique yellow,
and we had to paint right away. And like we picked City Loft, so I know you like that color. I like that color a lot too. And but then we repainted the walls a different color eventually. So like we had to spend money to just like neutralize the house.
That's right.
And then we were like, okay, now let's personalize like these rooms, you know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, right, like our job when we're preparing a house for the market, it's our job to appeal to as many buyers as possible.
Yeah.
And are there buyers out there that want to paint? Yes. But that's not as many as possible. Like that's not the majority. And if you're trying to sell your house fast for the most amount of money, you need to appeal to as many buyers as possible to get in that multiple offer situation. Yeah. And that's like paint and lighting. No more boob lights. Please get rid of the boob lights.
Oh, you hate a boob light.
I hate
Yeah, you hate the boob lights.
Like, they're so 1980s, 1990s. Like, get rid of them. You can go on Amazon. They've got multi-pack of LED low-profile lights for like $60. You get like 6 of them.
I think it's really hard
to get rid of the boob lights.
I think picking like a light fixture is like so hard.
I mean, if you don't do it every day.
You can miss like bad on a light fixture.
Yeah.
Like I don't have taste for that. You know, like some things I'm like, oh, I have taste for that.
Yeah.
But like,
well, you have me, so you do have.
So yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey.
I just was working with agent last night at like 9:00 at night, picking out light fixtures for her listing coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be shipped today to her.
So like, what are the most important rooms to stage? Because kitchen and bathroom sell houses, right? But you stage those, but like that's not like the main focus, right? It's like
Correct.
living room, bedrooms, basement. Like what is important? What's not important? Like if I was a seller and I'm picking like an a la carte menu, like what's your suggestion?
Yeah, that's a great question. So. You can do a la carte, but you have to also be careful because remember, it's not necessarily just about staging the room. It's about creating an experience for that buyer. So we like to have our base package is the entryway, one living space, dining space, one bathroom, and then the kitchen area.
Okay.
And then from there, the next level up would be adding the primary bedroom and either if they have an ensuite doing that one, if not, then just a second bathroom somewhere in the house. And then everything from there, I feel like is extra. Okay. And it should be kind of determined on the price point of the house. Okay. Right? So if your house is 500, 600, 700,000, doing our Heart of the Homes package is significant. Like that will be enough, right? But if you're talking your house is 8,000 square feet, you've got to do more or it's just going to look funny. Because just one of the two of the rooms are staged. Yeah. And so we can do offices, nurseries, gyms, movie rooms.
The nursery is always like the nicely, like I like to see a nice stage nursery. It makes an impact. Yeah.
Some staging companies refuse to do them.
Why?
Because not everyone can have kids.
Oh, I understand that.
I understand it.
Yeah, but I think sometimes
we're trying to appeal to the majority though, right?
Yeah, but I just feel like sometimes, I mean, and I feel like this is a problem like in society overall, just in general. Like we're trying to appeal to everyone.
That's right.
And so then it's just like, it doesn't, it's like not the highest and best use. Like if this room should be a nursery, right? Like just make it a nursery.
Yeah.
And if the couple that comes in and they can't have kids, I'm sorry for that, right? But like, hopefully they're not offended, right? But like, they also shouldn't be offended because a stager made a decision for like a product, like with a house. This is my opinion,
because it's like if the rooms are awkward, right? That's like the only time that we're ever going to stage a nursery is if it's a really small bedroom.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have to show and it's never like, oh, it only should be a nursery. I'll give the agent and the seller the option. We can do an office.
Yeah, because the office is like the other.
We can do an office, right?
And the office is really safe right now because people work from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh my gosh, during COVID, we were doing like 2 and 3 offices in a house. That was very interesting. I remember I had an agent who was like, the house had like 5 bedrooms, and he's like, "Can I make 2 of them offices?" I said, yeah, if that's what you want, I'll do it. But yeah, so if the room's really small, we should stage it. It should always be staged. Or if you have a weird bump out or a weird window and you don't really, if you stand in the room and you're kind of like confused at where to put things, that room needs to be a staged room.
So my wife and I, we're like started to look at houses in Fredericksburg, and we're not, I have to use this year's tax return to be able to buy next year. And so we're not even like ready till like February, March. But we walked into a house and it's like 15 out of 10. And in the, it's like nice and open, but like the kitchen, it's like, you know, living room, island, kitchen cabinets, vibes. And so like fridge and cabinets. And then there's this little like the bump out, it goes like this and around. And then the dining room's over there. And we're just like, so it's like boom, 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 like a wall. And then a back wall, and then the dining room's over there. And I'm just like, what will we do with this space
bar cart
right here? And that's what I thought. I thought like bar cart, or I'm glad you said that because I like to know that I got a little staging juice then. No, bar cart or like coffee.
Yeah.
I thought like mixed, like a dual like coffee station with like the wine fridge bar cart station. But something my wife doesn't like bar carts. She thinks it's like tag. She thinks like this is some old school like 1970s vibe.
If you go old school, it can be. But there are some really unique things out there nowadays that you can repurpose into something like that actually looks nice. That's a nice piece of furniture, and it's not like that little metal carriage thing. So I mean, just go online and like Pinterest is your best friend.
Oh, I have so many.
So-
Like Pinterest is the vibes. Yeah.
So yeah.
Pinterest
so,
sponsor us.
Yeah. But yeah, I would do like some type of coffee bar. Like we do that all the time when there's like a weird nook in the kitchen dining room area. We'll do a lot of like using that as an example of what to do
Yeah.
with the space.
I think that I'm a very modern person. Like, you know, bachelor pad. You saw my kitchen. Like no handles. Like I really like that vibe. So I like the modern look. My wife is very like mid-century modern.
Okay.
That's like her vibe. And I think that those styles marry each other.
Yeah.
Like, right? Those kind of mix together, right? But you're a stager. And I walk into houses and I'm like, I think this is the wrong furniture for this house, right?
Yeah.
And then I also notice stagers who have their own kind of style, you know? Are you a stager that you have your own? Well, first, what is your favorite style, right? And then are you a stager that kind of stages everything from that like vantage point? Or are you like in a house and you're like, this is what this house needs?
So
because you have to build inventory. At the end of the day.
My vibe is more like Scandinavian.
Okay.
I like the whitewashed oak hardwood floors, white, bright, airy, soft. But that is not popular in this area, so we don't have anything like that. But I'm getting ready to like revamp my entire house. I'm very excited. But I think there are companies out there that they have their brand, they have their look, and that's great. And they have, you know, their clientele that they work with, and they're very niche.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to build and what I am building is something that can service everyone. And so, because you and I know not every house is the same, not every budget is the same, not every client is the same, I try to keep an inventory that's more of a transitional style, where the main pieces, the couch, the sofas, the tables, things like that, can be used in multiple different areas of style. And then we can bring in accent pieces that kind of lean it more ways than the other. Because, I mean, unless the house is super, super like contemporary or something like that, we want to appeal to as many buyers as possible, and not everybody likes that style.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just carry one style stock of furniture in my company. I want to make sure that we can kind of have this transitional type of inventory where we can service every style, if that makes sense.
And I know you have like a super like a huge warehouse, and I think
that was not huge.
Well,
so
but you have a lot of stuff in there though.
It's packed.
So I need, because I remember you explained it to me one time. I need you to explain it again, so like we can clip it out and you can let people know how like real you are about this, like how serious you are about this. What does that warehouse look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's 1,800 square feet in Woodbridge. 21-foot ceilings. We've got an office that's probably like 9x9 office, and that's where we pack our vignettes, because that's the only area that's like has an AC unit. Like I put an AC wall unit in there.
Yeah.
And so we'll like design in that room and pack our bins. Now, when you walk out of that area, you have our bay with our couches. We store our couches vertically on dollies, so we can roll them around and get them out of our way when we're trying to move around.
Smart.
So that's like the bay area is like our dolly couch area. And then when you go into the back of the warehouse, because it's like shotgun style, to the right of it is like a little bump out, because it's like office, bump out area, and then bathroom, and then another bump out, bump in, I guess you would say. And so the first little cove is where our accessories are. And so we have husky shelves lined around, and we have these little like carts that the designers go shopping, and they pull their accessories, they put on the cart, and then they go back in the office.
The designers go shopping.
Yeah, they go shopping in the warehouse. And so sometimes they'll design in the warehouse, but for the most part, if it's super hot, they'll go back in the office. And then you have the bathroom, and then you have in the back is where our arts and rug section is. And in the arts and rug section, I had somebody come in and built platforms where there's a platform of a bunch of big art, and then a smaller platform that's where our smaller art, and then another platform that's where all of our lamps are pre-binned, right? So they're all tagged and binned and categorized for our software. And then up top is kind of like where where things go to die, and like like if something needs to be fixed, we put it up there because we're going to fix it eventually or something. Or if it's maybe not on trend now, but I know that it's a recurring trend and it'll come back, I don't want to get rid of it, we'll just like kind of store it in like our junk area. And then the rugs, we have like this, I don't even know what to call it. It's like this walled out thing where you like put the rug in and so they stand up.
Yeah.
And then above that, we have our mattresses. We're trying to phase out the blow-up mattresses and get more like actual mattresses. So we have twin mattresses that I inherited. I bought a bunch of stuff from Airbnb. And so we have a bunch of twin mattresses that we use, but we've also we network with other staging companies across the nation, and they have this like foldable mattress and things. So we're starting to phase out the blow-up mattresses. I'm very excited for that. So we keep all that stuff up there above the rugs. On the far side of the warehouse, we have built platforms also. So you have like a row of platforms and then an aisle and then a row of platforms that way. And that's where all of our chairs and tables and dressers, console tables, things like that. And then up top, there's a pretty big, like, it's not a mezzanine, but it's close to that.
She's a mezzanine in the warehouse, guys.
No, it's close to that. It's not really a mezzanine. Per the fire marshal, it's not a mezzanine.
Not a mezzanine in the warehouse, guys.
And so we have one of those like rolling ladders that you climb up and you can walk around, and we stack things up on top of there. And then on the very back wall is our pillow wall. And that was fun trying to figure out how to store all of our pillows. We got like the cheap, like $40 shelving units from Walmart.
Yeah.
And stacked them and like zip tied them to the wall, because the wall, it used to be a auto shop or something. And they had like drilled a bunch of holes in like the back of the wall. So we've like zip tied to like hold the shelves up there. And so, I mean, it's probably like the pillow wall probably goes about 18 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And so you have to have a ladder to even get to the top pillows. And then we have our kids section, which is like a bunch of toys and stuff and bins. That's on rolling racks, so we can move it around when we need to. And then we have like our bedding is on racks, on rollers, so we move that around. So it's a tight space. We have, I don't know the numbers right now. I think we have like 4 or 5 spec homes out, and I had to buy probably 75% of the furniture to fill the house.
Wow.
So I'm very nervous on when they start coming back, where we're going to put all this stuff.
Yeah.
In Maryland, they have a 3,000 square foot warehouse, so they have more room up there.
Yeah.
To move around. So I would love, our lease is up in May in Virginia, and I would love to be able to get into like a 3,500 square foot warehouse. That would be amazing.
Wow. That's good problem to have, right?
Yeah. Like, growth.
I wanted you to do that, right? Because you've explained it to me before, but I think it's grown bigger since, like, I think you have more stuff since the last time you explained it to me. And I just think that it's important for people to like understand, like, this is what you do. Like, you're legit, like, you have a real staging company. Like, you're really passionate about this. Yeah. Like, you explained a store. You're right. Like, in this section, we have the mattresses. And then we have the kids sections, right? Like, this is not, and we don't disparage anybody, right? But this is not like I have a public storage.
Yes, that's right.
And like, I pop in there to like grab stuff.
I started there.
No, you know,
I started from my garage, and then I went from the garage to 1 storage unit to 3 storage units to 5 storage units to 7 storage units.
Wow. And
then I was like, why the hell? The 7 storage units is kind of dope though, because like everything was very, I'm a little OCD. So everything was very organized. The warehouse, it's just too small. But yeah, so, but at 7 units, I was like, why am I like, we didn't have electrical outlets, you know, like I'm like, we're growing, we need to get an actual warehouse.
Yeah.
It was a logistical nightmare to get things in and out of the storage unit. And now we just back the truck up to the door. It's super easy. Yeah. And you know, but yeah, I mean, it's growth.
Dennis and I thought about, shout out to Dennis. He's here as my camera guy. You know, he's been with me 10 years. We doing it, bro.
Wow,
I have to talk to
years?
Dennis like this because he told me if I go away from the camera, he can't hear me. But Dennis and I thought about like getting a storage unit and making that the podcast studio.
You wouldn't be able to plug anything up.
And you just said that, which is why I was like,
yeah, that was my biggest thing, because like we couldn't really see things. So I bought these like these little tiny lights that we could like hook on because our storage unit had like chicken wire for the ceiling. And so we would like hook our lights up to be able to see.
Yeah.
But then like as we've grown and, you know, we've gotten like power tools and vacuums, because we also like, we've just started doing like what we're calling the red carpet treatment. So when we enter a house, we roll out red carpets that we can actually carry our stuff in and put it down without having to remove our shoes. But we want to be very respectful if there's new floors or if it was just cleaned or whatever the case may be. So we've started getting like vacuums and Swiffer mops. And so when we leave the house, oh yeah, 100%. So when we leave the house, we're going to clean up on our way out the door. And so as I started wanting to implement these extra services to really, you know, make sure that we're delivering a really great product, I'm like, how do we charge anything? So then it was like, I take it home, I charge it, then I forget it at home, and then I have to bring it back. And I was like, this is just too much. Let's just get a warehouse.
So
I want to own one day. I'll own one.
You will. You crush it. You're buying like markets basically right now. So it's only a matter of time. So I'm going to get you out of here on trends, right? And Dennis, throw out some trends. Like if you have some trends, because I have a few, but I'm going to run out. And then if you have any trends, you throw them out too. And feel free to give an explanation on any of these things.
I feel like I'm on the hot seat right now.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. So shoes in the house or no shoes in the house?
Oh my God, no shoes in the house.
Why?
You walk around outside, walking on God knows what, and then you walk into your house with the shoes on? Like, take the shoes off at the door.
Okay.
Not just when you're, like, showing houses or seeing houses, but also in your house.
Big light or little light person?
What do you mean?
Are you a lamp person or you put the big light on in the house?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, I think it depends on the time of day and what you're doing.
Okay.
You should always have lamps.
Always have lamps?
Always have lamps in your house.
Okay. Color drenching or no color drenching?
I don't know.
Do you know what color drenching is?
Like
with the paint?
Doing like the whole room. So I'm doing this project in Fairfax. She wants to paint like her entire office like a 4-screen, like ceiling, floor, trim, windows, everything. I know it looks great on like Pinterest.
Yeah, it looks
right. Like it looks good on Pinterest, but like we don't live the way Pinterest looks.
Yeah. And
I think it can be beautiful when done right, but I don't think the average person can do it right.
Okay.
So it's like I want to say yes, but like realistically, it's hard to pull off.
Agreed. Engineer hardwood floors or on the main level or a luxury vinyl plank on the main level?
Well, I'm scared to answer this one. I think it depends, right? Because I have engineered hardwood floors on my house, on my main level.
Your stager does it right.
I have LVP in my basement. I'm so mad that they discontinued the floor, so I can't run it. I wanted to do the bedrooms with the same flooring, but they discontinued it. And so I'm probably just going to do carpet because I cannot do mixed match flooring.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. Like if you're going to do laminate, like you can get a really good laminate these days, like not the cheapy plastic stuff. Like you need to spend $5-6 per square foot on a good laminate. Don't go get something that's $1 or $3 like that. It's garbage. But there are flooring out there. I just did a project in Reston. We did laminate floors, and I'm pretty sure you would be like, oh, damn, these are really great floors. But they were expensive. But hardwood floors can get damaged, right? So
LVP or engineer hardwood floors on the main level?
I think it depends on the person.
You got to give us one. You got to give us one.
No, it depends.
We respect you. We respect everyone.
In my house, engineered hardwood floors.
All right.
If somebody's got dogs and pets and kids and life, I think LVP is fine as long as you go with a high luxury, high-end product.
Are white cabinets over or are they still here?
See, now you're hurting. You're like, this is so hard because professionally, white cabinets sell houses because it's easy, they're bright, they're clear, they're clean, they appeal to a lot of buyers. I hate white cabinets.
Okay.
My cabinets are like my cabinets in my house are like a sea foam green cabinet. Vibes. And they're beautiful. And every time I walk into my kitchen with my granite countertops, I just
love it, right?
Yeah. No white cabinets. But when you're selling houses, yeah.
Okay. Home outside clothes on the bed or no outside clothes on the bed?
No outside my clothes on the bed. I say that to my daughter all the time. She's like, "Mommy, can I get in your bed?" I'm like, "You need to go put on some other clothes or some other jammies." It's like, "No, you can't get in my bed.
All right.
You have to wash the whole day off of you before you get in your bed."
This is why we cool, because you answered all those questions pretty much right. Except I'm an in the house shoes person. I respect people. Like I grew up, we grew up in Annandale, right? I grew up in Annandale, so I have a lot of friends culturally who was like, "You're not about to wear shoes in my house," and I respect it. But every time I go in someone's house and they don't let me wear their shoes, I'm a little upset. And I'm just like, bro, like, let me keep because my shoes are part of my fit. And so now when I take my shoes off, I'm less swaggy than I was when I left the house. I understand and agree with all the reasons why you should take your shoes off.
You could just bring an extra pair that are clean and put those on when you get into the house.
I think that you should just provide me with some booties, so I can take my shoes off.
You would be okay. I would do that. I love when I'm at an open house and they put the booties on and then they walk outside and they walk back in. And
my gosh! I'm like, you defeated the purpose. Yeah.
My thing is you don't sweep and mop your own house, do you?
Well, we hire a cleaner. Okay. I sweep on a day to day, but we hire a cleaner.
I can't hire cleaners because they don't
clean well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you
and so my thing is my family comes over for dinners. I like to host. I love hosting. And some of my family members do not remove their shoes, even though I have asked them multiple times for multiple years. And then when they leave, I can see the dirt, the leaves, and everything all over my floor. And then I've got to clean again. So it's more of like a cleanliness, not really like a cultural thing. It's just and then I have my daughter, like she likes to drop food on the floor and pick it up and eat it, right? So it's like, please don't walk around my house with your shoes on because you're tracking outside in. So
okay,
it's more of like a cleanliness thing.
I feel it. All right, well, let's get you out of here. Okay. Where can the people find you? How can they contact you? How can they, get the information on staging that you provide? Any last words also, you want to drop?
Just slow down the process of getting your house ready for the market and properly prepare it for the market. And don't do paint, flooring, and then later on talk about staging. Like talk about it all together at one time. Like that is part of market preparation. And as far as getting a hold of us, I have to look at my phone because we have a new phone number. And I have not memorized it yet. We have an 800 number. Isn't that wild?
Guys getting an 800 number. By the way, while she's looking for that, I want you to know she judged us for this when we came in, as I expected her to do.
What is this, though?
Look, they had it in here. We're just using the accessories, what's available to us,
It's like one of those things. No, that doesn't work.
I didn't say that. Well, that was creative.
Yeah, she's just like, what's going on here,
It's not, yeah. It's fine. I'm going to send you a list. I've got some ideas. I'll send you a list. So since we have the two locations now, we have an 800 number or 877 number. And when you call, if you're looking for Maryland, West Virginia, or Pennsylvania, you press 1, and then DC and Virginia, you press 2. So that number is 877-898-0703.
Cool.
And you can find us on social media, Stage with Phoenix, and then Staged Above.
It's Jennifer Cook. We out.
Sir. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.